Thank you for joining me for two lessons, lesson 113 and lesson 114 of our daily Sefer mitzvos study. So we're going over yesterday's study and also today's. Yesterday, we were in Sefer mitzvahs were tasked with finishing up the idea of of annulling a vow or nullifying a vow. Um, and there's just a couple things I want to say on this that Mishnah Torah makes some points regarding vows that vows are a way for us to take upon ourselves something additional that the Torah never commanded. And so, like for instance, if we say, we're never going to have alcohol again in our life, or whatever, that's fine. If you're going to take that on upon yourself, that's a prohibition that the Torah did not put upon you specifically, and so you have added on to the laws of the Torah. So if you make that a vow to yourself, which does not necessarily even need to be a verbal vow, it can be something that you've basically put into practice in your life. Then that has like the force of a vow for you. And that is a additional prohibition that the Torah did not give you. That is something you do have the ability to do. And some people do it because, for instance, let's say in the case of alcohol, they've really experienced the negative things regarding that, or they just simply they're not able to handle it themselves. Whatever, they take upon themselves that additional prohibition. However, it is stated in Mishnah Torah that ideally we don't put additional prohibitions upon ourselves beyond what the Torah has already given us. And so it's actually negative for us to be in the practice of adding additional prohibitions upon ourselves. And so those are the kind of vows that we would be wise to seek to nullify. The vows that we put on ourselves that are for a additional mitzvah, that we like, a positive thing that we're taking upon ourselves, like the vow to give a certain amount of charity, or in the days of the temple, you would make a vow that you're going to offer a sacrifice that maybe you weren't obligated to bring, but you made the vow. It even talks about this in the Torah in a positive way, or in a passive way, that you can make a vow to bring a certain offering to the temple. And excuse me, Tehillim's Psalms says that it says, I will fulfill my vows. And so that the Tanakh, the Bible, is very positive regarding us fulfilling those kind of obligations that we put upon ourselves. Those are not the kind of vows that we should seek to nullify. If we make a vow that we are going to do something for someone, or to do something for Hashem, and those things are positive, they are not prohibitions that we're adding upon ourselves. Those are things that we should seek to do with all of our power to fulfill those vows that we make. And the couple other things that that came up in this section was we've talked about how a husband has the ability to nullify a vow that his wife has taken upon herself, as long as he does so on the day that he hears about it. And I mean, as long as he knows that that is within his power to do according to the Torah. As soon as he knows and he knows about that vow, then he must immediately nullify that vow. And there are ways in which that is properly done. Um, Rambam makes the point that these vows that he is able to nullify regarding his wife are only to be vows that negatively impact the home, the family, and so he then has the right and the mitzvah to nullify those vows or to wipe them away in those cases, and really. You might think that it's is that a chauvinistic thing or something, but really he's removing the added potential sin being brought in the home and upon his wife, and that maybe also that she made some sort of a hasty vow, and he's able to remedy that situation. All right. Now we're moving on to the laws of the Nazir, the Nazirite. So this is someone who makes vows to be a Nazirite or to withhold themselves from the prohibitions of a Nazirite. There's different ways you might end up in this situation, but a Nazirite or a Nazir is someone who has taken upon themselves this special kind of vow, and they almost bring upon themselves like a priestly kind of holiness, or that's the ideal. And the Nazarite, it's not something we can do right now. You could do it, but there's no way out of it. Whereas a Nazir in the days of the temple could be a Nazir for as little as 30 days or as long as the rest of their life, depending on how they took that vow upon themselves. So Numbers 6:5 gives us the mitzvah that the Nazir shall let the locks of his hair grow. So the Nazir is commanded to allow the hair on his head to grow unimpeded. Only as far as I understand, I'm still studying the laws, but the lifelong Nazirite, like Shmuel, Samuel, or Samson, they were allowed to cut their hair only Absalom actually talks about how he would cut his hair when it grew too long, too heavy for his head. So a Nazir is allowed to cut their hair or trim their hair if they're a lifelong Nazir, whereas a Nazirite, a Nazir who is one for a shorter period of time, is to let their hair grow throughout that whole period of time. The number 6:5 is the next mitzvah, which says, "A razor shall not go over his head." So this tells us that a Nazir must not shave even one hair off of his head with a razor. This prohibition also precludes another from shaving the Nazirite's head, which we here in the story of Samson. All right, so now on to lesson 114. Negative mitzvah 202 A nazir is prohibited from drinking wine. So it says in Numbers 6:3, nor shall he drink or drink any liquor of grapes. So anything that is a wine or an intoxicating drink that is made from grapes or contains any grape ingredients, they're very strictly prohibited from having any of that, consuming it in any way, even drinking vinegar. The next mitzvah, negative mitzvah 203, and negative mitzvah 204, go further from this, and they both are going to pull from Numbers 6:3. Nor shall he eat fresh grapes, nor shall he eat dried grapes. So grapes and raisins are out for the Nazir. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll be back with God's help tomorrow with the next Sefer Mitzvahs study, continuing through the laws of the Nazir. Have a great day in every way.